Hello and welcome back to my studio. Today I'm going to be doing an Impressionist painting of a woman walking her dog. This is going to be on a 12 by 12 inch canvas panel in oils and will be in an Impressionist style. So lots of nice, beautiful, luscious, loose brushwork. So let's get painting. Okay, I've already drawn out the lady and the dog on the canvas, and I'm now going to give the entire canvas a coat of raw umber, just using terps or low odour thinners. Now I'm going in with a white, which is an off-white. It's slightly off-white. It's got a little bit of the raw umber in it, just to paint negatively, that is surrounding areas, the areas surrounding the figure, just to re-establish that figure and show me exactly where it is, and it gives me an idea of what the contrasts are going to be if I do this at this stage. Just putting these lights in where I want the figure to be thrown out and stand out the most. So I'm just using a bristle brush here with a little bit of white and raw umber. And now I'm warming it up a little bit now with a little bit of burnt sienna and a bit of cadmium orange in there as well, just a little bit. And then a little bit of blue in there just to dull it down into a neutral sort of a grey colour. And now with a bit more Payne's grey added, I can go a little bit darker in this background area. I'm just scrubbing in basically some of these basic shapes. I'm not trying to be detailed at all. The only bit I want care and attention is around the figure and the dog. So those are the bits I will pay extra care and attention to get the painting lines quite correct, or perfect as I can get them. So I'm just adding a little bit more darks into those areas just to give me a little bit more contrast, because this is going to be quite abstract Impressionist style background. So just roughly putting in these shapes and allowing the paint just to blend together, because I'll be going over this many times yet with different colours, different brush strokes. So this is just basically to get the canvas generally covered with a mid-tone of those particular areas. Now I want this to be like a little track she's walking this dog onto, down this little lane. So it's going to be quite bright in this particular area beneath her with some shadows. So just putting in a little pinkish skin tone now, and I find a little bit of cadmium orange and white and then a little bit of raw umber added gives almost a perfect skin tone. And then I can dull it down or warm it up or lighten it as needs be. So the shoulder blades there's little shadows on the shoulder blades and on the nape of the neck, where the hair is casting a shadow onto the neck. And I'll just put the hair in now with a little bit of raw umber. This is just a rough shape. It will change. The hairstyle will change as it progresses. A few little dark lines there. And you notice I'm doing all this just with this. It's a reasonably small bristle brush, but it's not large and it's not tiny. It's sort of in between. This is, it's about 1/4 inch long, flat bristle brush. It's great for doing paintings of this size when you have any detailed areas to do. And I don't mean detailed as in photographic realist perfection, not that kind of detail, but Impressionist detail. Okay, I'm going to put the dress in a similar sort of colour as it's her surroundings. So there's going to be colours in that dress that are going to harmonise with the surroundings. I could have done the dress as a bright red or bright yellow, but I just want it to be in keeping with the rest of the painting and be harmonious. So I'm just putting some darker areas in where the shadows are going to be. Shadows there and on that edge. And little bits here and there. And then I'll put in some lights. These aren't the highlights, this is the mid-tone of the highlighted areas, just to give me an idea of where the light is falling on the dress and on the folds of the dress. So you see how it's not really that bright, the whole dress. It doesn't blatantly stare you in the face. It's harmonizing with the other colors of the landscape. In fact, the dog's going to be the most stark element, and it's going to be the darkest element, being a black dog. So I'll do that in a moment. Just put in some more of these little highlights. And I will go over these several times before I'm happy with them. But nice, thick, luscious paint now I'm using. Now I've got to this stage. And I'll add one or two of those colours elsewhere into the surrounding landscape. And also put back in some of those areas I think need to be brighter to really show the figure off. And to show the outline. Like that. Quite abstract at the moment. I want this to be quite light round her head and shoulders there, just to really throw them out. And then I can blend that in with a little bit of cadmium yellow, tiny bit, just added to the white, just to give it a little bit of warmth. So it's not using an absolute bright, stark white. That's not what I like. It's too chalky. The look of it is too chalky. So always give it a little bit of a tint. So I'm adding some other tints now into this ground area and just adjusting her feet there as well. Bringing those lights up once again, here and there, where needed. Adding one or two little smaller marks now as I progress through the painting. This needs to be a little bit brighter around that side of the dog, just to throw that dog out when it is painted in. And while the paint's wet in that bottom left corner, I'll just scratch my name. A few more little foliage marks now into this area. And the one on the right. Adding some harmony. Now the dog goes in quite dark. This is pure raw umber. Perhaps a tiny little bit of Payne's grey added will make it really quite dark and black. So the dog's going to stand out really well. And then the legs are going to sort of drift off into the shadow. So I'll just darken the shadows area just a little bit there. I'll do the same with that shoe. There. And now put some little highlights. And they don't have to be detailed highlights. Just little bits of area to show that the dog has form. And isn't just a silhouette. A few more little marks here and there. Adding some warmer marks as well with some burnt sienna. And then some reds and oranges and pinks. All with the same tonal range, so nothing's too bright and in your face. Keep it subtle. And keep your palette subtle. all the colours should be harmonious. Just putting some highlights now back into that figure, into the shoulders and the shoulder blades, where the light is falling onto them. With a loose bristle brush still. I'm not tempted to go any smaller. So it produces these lovely, thick, loose brushstrokes. The elbows should be slightly lighter, and the shadows on the elbows should be a little bit more red. So I'll put those in a moment. Just put some highlights on the legs here, where the sunlight is catching the back of the leg. The same on this one, but not so much. Now I'll put some darks into those hands and into the creases of the arms there, the shoulders, and on the corners of the elbows. Fine-tuning that shadow on the neck. And also the shape of the hair. So I'll just make this a little bit darker because I want to put some highlights into the hair and they need to show up. I'll just put one or two more back into that dog there. And the shoes. Right, now I'm going to put a little bit of warmth into the hair. A little bit of burnt sienna. And then I can go a little bit lighter with that, and it'll just a little bit of dabs here and there will show me some highlights to show that that hair has form and there's a style. I'm going to just put some wisps here and there where the wind is just, or the gentle breeze just catching her hair. Like that. And now a few little even brighter lights on her shoulders to show that light from above, and on the corners of her elbows. Once again, now I'm going to put a lead in, and you notice I'm not doing it in one straight line, but it's a bit jagged, it's bounced along, and that helps to create interest and not just a straight, normal, regular line. And it adds interest. I'm sure you can see the difference between that and how it would normally be. Well, this is what the old masters used to do. Instead of doing a straight line, they would bounce the paint along it to make your imagination do the work. It was Impressionism in its early stages, really. Well, they invented it, the old masters, but it was then perfected later on. So a few little darks once again now, going into the dress and into the legs, showing those shadows. I need some detail here on the back of the dress to show that it has little details. But it's only impressions of details. I'm not actually painting very fine lines or anything. And she needs a couple of straps to hold her dress up, so I'll just put some straps there and there'll be little highlights on the tops like that. A few little highlights once more on her ankles, her calves, like that. And then make sure I've got this hand correct. And then a few little adjustments and highlights, and then that's the painting finished. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and hopefully found it rewarding and entertaining. Let me know if you have any comments or questions that I may be able to help you with. And I look forward to you joining me on my next painting video. So until then, have a lovely day and happy painting!